Howdy y'all, Los here. Let's do an update. This here is a Yaupon holly. We've seen this many times. It's one of the first original trees we've ever worked on. We repotted it not too long ago and it's just been growing out. So let's just take a look at its progress and we'll give it a little trim while we're at it as well. All right, I'm just gonna bring this back down into shape a bit. Not ready to do any major work to her today. Lots of dead roots that do need to be removed. As you can see here, look, all these roots are gone, no good. Just a little extra protection here in the Texas sun. Some local moss here. Okay, just gonna bring this back down into shape a bit. Cutting some of these longer shoots down to the first or second node. You guys know the routine. I'm not gonna do much cleanup with the branching. There's a lot of useless branches here that we don't want in the future, but I want it to all just kind of grow for now, and we'll deal with that next year. We did just go through a repot this season, so we don't really want to, we want it to settle in. And unfortunately, I have very hard water, and buying softeners are pretty expensive. So you just got to deal with the hard water stains. Try not to water the top too much, but you do want to water the leaves occasionally. But so that's when you get these hard water spots. This here is my crepe myrtle tree. This is a beautiful tree. I love it. We pruned it not too long ago in the hopes that we would double the flowers, and boy, I wasn't wrong about that at all. So every cut we made at least doubled it, and we got twice the amount of flowers, and we still have a lot more flowers to go. We didn't catch it at a good day where we see a ton of flowers. It's a shame too, maybe one day these will all pop out at the same time and give us a nice show. But for now, I think because of the pruning beforehand, some of these shoots are older than some of these shoots are older than other shoots. So this is why we're having alternate openings of the buds. It's one of my favorite trees. There's so much character. It's turning out to be quite a tree, and you don't normally see a crepe myrtle single trunk out there in the wild. Sometimes you see them and it's like a combination of a bunch, and they fused and they've created one big old massive trunk. That's cool too. But this here's a single trunk with its own roots and nabari. I'm really stoked about this one. That's the update on the crepe myrtle. Look what we got here. This here is the update on the Christmas tree. This is a stone pine that we shaped into a conical shape like a Christmas tree, put presents and lights around it. It was a beautiful looking tree. We let it grow, and it's been 7 months since we did anything to it. It was put into this container previously, then it was worked on, and then it was styled again, and now we're at this stage. And I'm looking around, I see that a lot of the wire is biting in. Some of these lower branches didn't make it, so I want to get rid of some of these things. So let's go ahead and give it a quick cleanup. We'll start by getting rid of the wire here. And this whole branch is dead here. Take a look at this. So this is one of our bottom branches. All this stuff died off, but some reason it's not completely dead. Okay, so that one is gone. That one's gone. But that's still green up there. And of course we have our long, which is to be expected. It's going to be on the very tip, but it should be much stronger. It's a good taper, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this and this stuff right here. and we'll have that long branch. And these hopefully will thicken up later. But for now, these gotta go. Okay, done. I'll go ahead and get rid of the wire, which is biting in. We're at a perfect time to be taking these off. Normally I'd be wearing some sort of glove when handling this tree, because it can get pretty painful on your fingies. Pretty, like that, nice. Okay, then we have this next branch here, same thing. And let me see, let's do a scratch test, and look, it's still green underneath. Just give it a little bit of a nick and see, and you can see, there it is, it's all green under here. This branch isn't dead. I just think there's no energy going to it because it's getting taken up over here. But we're gonna go ahead and get rid of it. Because we got a nice bottom branch here, which we will use it in return. Maybe I'll cut this node off like right here. Maybe for now. That way we'll anchor. This wire isn't biting in. Want to get rid of this wire that's biting in. Get rid of some of the dead branches. Just clean it up in general there. I don't want to do a full cleanup today. This is copper wire, so trying to save it would be best instead of splicing it off. With all the wire removed, I'm able to look at this a little bit more objectively again. And my problem with it is that there's a lot of under here. Now, these guys are probably not going to make it, and if we get rid of them, we'll be happy. But then we have this long trunk, which I'm not really entirely happy about. So what I think what we can do, and it'd be a good candidate for, is what's called a ground layer. It's a lot like an air layer, except we'll do it right here in its own pot. We will do the ring layer where we take off the strip here. We'll mound up all the sphagnum moss up here in the hopes that it'll grow new roots up here in this area, like talk about right over here, like that. That'll be like the new root system, and we'll have a better bottom branching there. So I think that's what we're going to work towards in the future. But for now, let's move on. That's the update on the stone pine Christmas tree. This here is a native Chinese elm. Not quite sure. Could be a catlin, could be a lace bark, but it's got these tiny leaves really close together. It's a Chinese style tree here. But that's all I know about it because I dug this up out of a gutter. some sort of drainage ditch at a park. But as you can see, it is growing quite nicely here in this container on this slant. And we've got a nice bushy top here working. I'm just letting it grow out, not letting the shoots get too long. There's some spiders hanging out, living their lives up here. Just let them be. But for now, it's looking really great. I'm really happy with this tree. That's the update on this Chinese elm. Come this way and I'll show you the update on our cedar elm slab. All right, check out this progress on this cedar elm. It's doing really good. We did a nice chop to the top. You can see it just keeps going. It loves growing. It's doing really well. The big main issue is the sun here in Texas. It's behind this screen. It's got lots of moss hanging out on top of the moss because this more pillowy moss I like than this sort of fern-like moss, which is not anchored down anything. Hopefully it'll green up some more, but right now, because of the sun, because of the heat, a lot of this moss is not going to grow or stay green for now. It'll come back when things cool off. Let me show you where moss is actually doing really well, and that's right behind you. As you can see here, the moss is always really under the shade of the bald cypress, staying nice and lush and green, which is really nice. Yeah, this whole landscape is doing really well, thriving, as you can no doubt see. I do want to check up on this air layer. It's been, how long would you say since we air layered? Maybe about, like 4 weeks? Has it been only 4 weeks?
Maybe 5. I don't think much more than that though.
So let's just see if we have anything even going, because a lot of this stuff is brand new growth that wasn't there when we did the air layer. So it's definitely growing, but let's check up on growth there. Let me get some root hormone. Should be enough. All right. Close her back up and check on her again in a month, see what's going on. But there's definitely something going on there. Whether it's calloused over and it's now back into a single tree, or that's the beginning of the root process there. Because there's something going on there. There's definitely some bulbous growth going. But we'll check up on it later. That's the bald cypress update. Oh, and real quick, let me show you this. I've got this branch bender here. Let's see if we can take it off and see if it's doing the trick. This thing's a really, really cool, unique little tool here. Let's see if I did get a nice extreme bend there, but oh boy, look at that. Look what happened there. So, I mean, these are cool and all, but as you can see, if you want to try to make an extreme bend, it worked. I got a nice extreme bend, which I'm happy about, but now we'll have to deal with that one of these days. So, whatever. For now, we're happy. All right, here's the Brazilian rain tree that we air layered the same day that we air layered that bald cypress. I just want to check on the progress of it as well. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks. We can't recall. Yeah, I'm seeing the same exact thing happening here. See, it's doing something or another, like bridging. Perhaps the air layer is not taken. Will this be the first year my air layers don't work? We'll find out. Stay tuned. This here's the Fukin tea tree that we've repotted, we repositioned, and made it grab a rock. I just want to take a look at what's going on down here. Bit of a hydrating. Everybody in this garden is pretty thirsty. We're going to give them all good water here in a little bit. Let's take a look-see-poo. I mean, is it time to do this? I don't know if it's even time to be checking it out. Well, yeah, it doesn't look like it's time to start looking at this thing. So it's a little premature. I'm gonna go ahead and rewrap this and let it keep growing. I want to see those roots thicken up a lot more before we take off this moss. Otherwise, you know, you're exposing these thinner roots to the air, and it's just not going to work out. So I'm going to leave it just like that and create that humidity in there. It's got fertilizer, it looks like. The fertilizers are still got fertilizer in them. So let's put this away for now. But get a good look at the foliage of this thing. It's the foliage is much tinier this time around. After defoliating, it came back much tinier than the other Fukin tree that I have, which has some giant leaves, and I'll show you that one here right now. All right, so here's another Fukin tree from our Fukin Friday stream. It gets defoliated periodically, and as you can see, we defoliated this not too long ago. Check that video out so we can see the structure. It's bounced right back. But look at these leaves compared to this one here. These leaves are much bigger and greener, by the way. And perhaps that's because we've got this growing on a rock. But isn't that interesting? These have kind of really shortened up and really gotten small. The color is gone though, but that's something I think we can get better. I mean, it's really hot lately, and the color of a lot of these things are starting to fade. It's no longer spring. All right, that's the update on the Fukin trees. All right, here we go again with the Parrot's beak. I mean, this thing does not skip any beats. As soon as you prune it, it's right back to being long in no time again. This time around, I'm gonna let it grow and thicken up a lot more everywhere. And everywhere we see these shoots, we're gonna see it get thickened underneath those shoots. So there's the update on the Parrot's beak. But as you can see, whoo boy. As a matter of fact, this was on the ground. This was sitting on the ground in my greenhouse, and I pulled it up, and it was completely stuck to the ground. The roots, what we had before, where this was sitting in it actually was sitting in this guy, and it grew all the way through. We cut off all those roots, and now it's sitting up real up high. I mean, it's probably around about here, but now roots have made their way all the way down to the bottom again. This is one of the most resilient tropical trees I've ever worked on, the Parrot's beak. This is an update on my willow leaf ficus. This here is the root over rock from a cutting, and it's been sitting in a very hot spot in the greenhouse, but all this new growth is about to come out, and I don't know if I don't think it's burnt. It doesn't look burnt. It looks like it's just ready to come out and start working, and it kind of defoliated itself, which is kind of nice. It's sat in a kind of hot spot in the greenhouse, which I've since moved, and it's gotten a lot better. As you can see, we're always dealing with weeds in these things, so make sure you try to pull them out completely. Don't leave any of it behind. Some of these don't need much to keep growing. Some of them just need their little rhizome. Where once this thing was infested with scale, I don't see any scale anymore on this. And it's time to start, you know, shaping this. Seeing what we can get with the shape. I know a tool we can use. Let's throw this on here. What do you think? See if we can get it to bend. So we'll put it around the branch we want to bend. Make sure the hooks are hooking. And you get to bending. I'm 40% bonsai. I want to start the bend right there instead. If I can. typically you wouldn't want to use copper wire on like a deciduous soft tree like this. But I'll keep my eye on her. These branches will naturally redirect up towards the light. I want that. I want that shape. You see that shape? Look at that shape. And maybe too harsh on the branch, but hopefully it'll look really good. And look at this one here. Why not? All right, kind of cool, yeah. And we'll find, these will probably become the apex here somewhere in the front or the back. We'll let it figure itself out. We could spread these out to create some depth. Oh, that's not too shabby. It's a great little start. It is summertime here in Texas, so do the best you can with mulching. I know it doesn't make your bonsais look the prettiest, so use a natural mulch. Sphagnum moss. That pine stuff would work good, but it doesn't look natural, you know. So we're just going to put this stuff on here indiscriminately. Don't make it look like it's pretty or anything, because it's in development. I mean, you can kind of make it look a little great if you want, but that's it for this. We're going to give this a good little water in too. Kind of cool here, yeah. We're gonna have something really cool with this one of these days. Like, this is a little too thick, but we'll sort all this stuff out one day. Here's the update on this willow leaf here. This, actually the one we just worked on was a root cutting from this tree. And then we repotted this tree not too long ago, and boy, it has filled up this pot rather quickly. I want and have plans to do the same thing that we did here. Bringing those down, playing with the branching, very fine branching at the moment, so I don't really want to mess with the branching. As you can see, it is popping out with all this new growth, and it actually looked just like our other one before, not maybe about 3 weeks ago or so. And then I took it out of the greenhouse and put it out here where it got a lot better of a watering. The greenhouse is very hot, and it's very hard to keep it cool in there. And the misting system I have keeps getting clogged with hard water. I think this is looking mighty fine. I think there's our front. And we want to like bring these down a little bit. Get some shape in the branch. It's not just a straight looking thing. Yeah, it'll look cool one day. That's the update on the willow leaf ficus. This is a ficus microcarpa that we repotted not too long ago. It's in the greenhouse, and look at all these like leaves. That greenhouse sometimes will have these sunspots and just sit there and bake the leaves on this ficus. Other than that, it's rather healthy looking. I do need to take off the wires because they are biting in. Let's do it. Oh, it's biting really good over here. We waited way too long to get these this wire off. Get those bite marks. All right, I'm just gonna bring down some of this growth here, and then we'll put her away. Start right down here. I want these to be a little longer. Actually, I like it right there. All right, that's about the front or so of the bonsai. Still some work to do on it, but for now, that's the update on this Ficus microcarpa. Finally, today, this is the update on the $50 challenge tree here. This is the dwarf crepe myrtle. It lives in Crepe Myrtle Alley over here on my bench. And it's doing okay. I've just been letting it grow. Trying to find a good front for it. I think something like that would be great. Nothing really new to report with it. It got a little dry at one point and a lot of the leaves died off, but now it's back, vibrant, sitting more in the shade area. It's doing okay. Just waiting for the day to work on it again because it's just not ready yet. It needs some time. All right. That's the update on the $50 challenge tree. This here is an American elm. It's growing in ground and it's growing on top of one of our Ebihara Los plates that I 3D printed. Now, mind you, this thing was probably about 1.5 feet tall when we planted it. And now it's, 10 times its size. And it's thickened up quite a bit. And I wanted to get a look and see what we're dealing with down here. I wanted to check out that plate. I just got to see what's going on. So let's dig deeper and see what we have. All right, I want to check and see these surface roots. I want to see what we got going on here. Oh yeah, see this? Look at this. The plates are working. We're getting lateral roots. Yeah, there's one of the fins of the plate. I tell you, this trunk is thickened up to, look, it's about 1.25 inches right now. It is thickened up so quick in here. Yeah, look at those roots. It is flaring out. The plate is working. So it seems for now. Pull back some of this. It's also growing in bonsai soil. You can see the roots going radially. Let's get down to the plate itself. There's the plate. And it is diverting all the roots. So that's telling me, yeah, the roots are probably spread way across here now. And when we take this out in spring next year, we're gonna be super stoked. Cool, that's gonna be great. I can't wait to pull that out next year. All right, that's all the trees I've got to show today. If you like our content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell icon. We'll show you guys some more next time. Be cool, stay hip, get yourself a hobby. We'll see you next time. Bye.